Hi everyone, I am Animesh, and in today's episode we have my friend from PGP Finance, Mr. Ashish Malhotra. So Ashish did his summer internship with Bain and Company. So let's hear out from him how was his experience. So hi Ashish, welcome to the show.
Hi.
So could you tell us something about what does Bain do and Bain and Company do, and what was the role that was offered to you?
Bain is, as you all know, Bain is one of the top three management consulting firms among the lines of McKinsey and BCG. So they have three offices. One is in Gurgaon, one is in Mumbai, and the third one is in Bangalore. I turned at the Gurgaon office. Largely, as you all know, it's Bain and Company is a front-end consulting firm which is separate from BCN, which is Bain Capability Network. Essentially, Bain Capability Network recruits from undergraduate colleges such as DUs and few of the NITs. Whereas Bain and Company is a front-end division which recruits from top-tier MB colleges such as Blackies and the rest. Now, my particular role was more towards client management, wherein the problem statement that I got was for a full potential strategic transformation of a client's business, which was in the ethanol space. So again, a few of you might have a question that do they look at your background while assigning you the cases or while assigning you the projects as soon as you join? To be frank, that's not the case at all. It's completely random. It also depends on the vacancies and if there's a slot available in that particular respective case teams. And accordingly, they assign you the project.
All right, Ashish. So you mentioned about the ethanol space. Can you elaborate a bit on it? And was this project a live one or was it a mock project?
Regarding ethanol, as you all know, it's an upcoming and booming industry right now. Particularly if you look at all the vehicles out there, they largely run on petrol or diesel, right? EV is one of the competitors that is in an emerging space, but ethanol is something that you can blend with the petroleum and gasoline and inject in your fuel ICE vehicles. And in that sense, ethanol is much more environmentally friendly, reduces greenhouse emission by a knack, and also helps achieve government target of being carbon neutral nation by 2070s, as Prime Minister Modi aimed for in the COP summit. So, with that vision in mind, our client was one of the largest Indian ethanol equipment manufacturer, and it wanted to expand its business in this particular space. So it was looking for opportunities not just in India but also abroad. So our primary task was to first of all establish whether there is enough opportunity and enough demand for ethanol in India, because if the demand for ethanol is going to rise, then that would essentially bring more business to the client. And as I said, we didn't only focus on the Indian geography but also countries such as EU and US, where ethanol is rampantly taking up speed when it comes to government's policy and initiatives regarding this space. Uh, you can argue that EV is also one of the emerging players in this particular sector, and ethanol is definitely its competitor. So we also assessed with how long will it take for EV to fully penetrate the vehicles market, and what is the window for a client within which it can expand its business, and maybe eventually maybe by 2023 what would be top line like. And the point of all this is that you don't need to worry initially that you are not well aware of these terms and how would it play out where once you join the respective case teams. That being said, enough resource material and enough support is provided by Bain to help you initiate this learning process and eventually implement that in your casework.
And I think practice rotation is actually a part. They expose you to different practice areas just so you get a flavor of it.
Exactly.
And then identify where you fit in.
Exactly. So in top three firms, it's not the case that they will play to your strength. They would like to expose you to different industries and different fields throughout your career, and then after a certain stage, you get an opportunity to whether you want to become an industry expert in the form of when once you reach the partner level, or you want to be a journalist at a broader level.
Talking about from your perspective, this project was already going around and you were a part of it, or it was handed over to you and you turned it around with the stipulated internship duration?
Okay.
Or how
Okay.
was it?
Okay. So it was basically a live project. Okay. So let me clarify that first thing. So actually depends on whether there is enough vacancy for you to start the project at the time of you joining the firm, right? This project that I was allotted was already in operation since Jan 2023. So it was more or less 4 months into operation. I joined in April and worked till end of May. And the project officially closed in the month of June. So I was in the team towards later half of the project. Some of you might fear that how will we be able to cope up with the project that is already in operation, because a lot of stuff has already happened on the project once you join.
Right.
But that is not the case. Usually such large projects that span across 6 months or 9 months, usually they are segmented into small pieces. So you will be allotted a particular piece or maybe a couple of pieces depending on your case team, and accordingly you pick from there.
Okay. And since you mentioned it's a live case,
Mhm.
how do they assess you? Do they give you the freedom to narrate a story, or is it being given by your seniors and then you are expected to work around it? How does that actually work?
Okay, so the first phase would essentially involve around you getting to know more about the project. If the project is already in operation for 4 to 5 months, you are given that ramp up period for, let's say, about 1.5 weeks. This proceeds the training period, which is typically ranging from 3 days to 5 days. So once that 2 week period is over, you are onboarded on the project in terms of getting to work on live pieces. Let me lay out how the hierarchy works at Bain. So it's essentially a flat hierarchy. If you have an opinion in mind or if you have a suggestion in mind, you are free to voice it out. But ideally, what happens is that senior consultant or the consultant, as we call, is usually the one who is the workstream head, and above him is the manager. So, and below the workstream head, which is the senior associate consultant or the consultant, comes the associate consultant or the interns. So I was working under the consultant, and he in turn was reporting to the manager. So a case is typically divided into multiple work streams depending on how big the case is. Our particular case was divided into 4 to 5 work streams. I was allotted one of the work streams, and each of the work streams have different tasks to and different pieces to look out for. So, how the ideation part, as you asked, is largely done in consultation between managers and consultants, and the work is then lowered down to ACs, associate consultant, junior consultants, and interns. You can play a part in streamlining it a bit, but that is how a case works. Starting from the junior level, you work on the pieces, you aggregate them, you take into confidence your consultant, and consultant would in turn take into confidence his manager, the work stream, the entire case manager, right? Post which we take the presentation to partners, and then it is presented to the entire case team. And in between, what happens is that you do not wait for the case to be over to present it to clients. So what happens is that you constantly take inputs from clients as well. How is the project running? What are the updates, etc. If there is any suggestion that you want us to incorporate.
Okay. And from a learning perspective, do you regularly keep in touch with, let's say, senior managers, or do you directly report to your the consultants?
So again, it depends. How is your equation with the manager? But largely, what happens is that you do work with your work stream lead on a daily basis, because he is the one or she is the one to whom you have to report to on a daily basis. Then it depends on case team, but essentially the work stream lead is the one who updates the manager about what is about the check-ins that happens daily or maybe weekly, which in turn updates the partners. So you can be in touch with the manager, but not that frequently as you are in touch with your case team lead or work stream lead.
Okay, now coming to the next question, which is very commonly, how was the work-life balance?
work-life balance, to be honest, it again depends on which case team you are allotted. As I said, I joined the case towards the later half of it. So there was a pressure to meet the deadline, right? There were certain cases who were just starting when the interns joined. So the pressure there was on a lower side. So it depends on the timeline at which you are joining the case. And secondly, there are days wherein you can close after working for 9 to 10 hours at best, and there are days where you need to slog 15 hours back to back. So it totally depends on the client deliverables, what are the deadlines. And deadlines here, it's not very rigid. The client can demand the deadline to be preponed by some few days, so you again have to recalibrate your entire timelines according to that.
Now, moving on to the next question. So, if what's the role that is given to you as a full-time employee?
So there are two designations that are there at the starting level. One is junior consultant, which ideally MBAs who join right after 2 years of MBA go for, and other is associate consultant. So associate consultant is typically someone who joins after undergrad, typically IITians. They both work on at similar pieces, but junior consultant is something that you get after doing your MBA.
Okay. All right, Ashish. So, any specific skill sets that you would recommend for upcoming batches?
I think your ability to think on your feet at that particular moment and problem solving is something that is highly appreciated at consulting firms. Most of us don't realize the importance of it. To junior batches, I would suggest engage in as many case comps as you can. That will give you a very close encounter of what actually happens at these firms. Also, I would say brush up your skills in Excel because you tend to work on models as well. If not all the times, majority of the times. And again, PPTs is the bread and butter of consultants. So that being said, these are few of the soft skills. These are few of the hard skills that you can look out for. And apart from this, soft skills is something that I would also really like to emphasize here. You should be a good communicator. You should be able to put your thoughts out on a piece of paper or on those slides that are out there. And you should be able to communicate not only with your manager or the work stream lead, but also with the client if the opportunity arises. The competition and the fight to back that PPO is intense. So make sure that you stand out while you're pursuing your internship.
All right, Ashish, thank you for a very descriptive interview. So I think that sums up our interview. For our viewers, we have pinned down Ashish's LinkedIn description handle in the comment section. So do reach out to him if you have any more questions. Thank you.
Thank you.